This was a time in my life where I was just really thinking that if I sold enough, if I made enough, and if I looked good enough, that I would feel good enough. So to share a pivotal moment on my journey to success, we all go through these hills and valleys. Some eras in our career, we are high on life. We're feeling so super confident. Everything we touch turns to sold, literally. Then our ego steps in. Then we start making choices out of our ego. When I was in that era and my phase in life, I would have to say things were very fleeting. I created more disappointment for myself and maybe even others around me during that time when I was chasing worldly things and feeding my ego. I was learning how to grow through that limiting belief of I'm not good enough. During that era of time, I really tried everything under the sun to combat the I'm not good enough tape. This was a time in my life where I was just really thinking that if I sold enough, if I made enough, and if I looked good enough, that I would feel good enough. It was a little bit after my son was born. And of course, when you have children, they change your life. I remember a quote that someone had once told me, and they said that parenting is so hard when you want to do it right. Those words always stuck with me because it's true. If you want to live a neglectful pattern with your children, it's not hard to just focus only on yourself. But learning how to care for another individual, having my son was a huge transition into thinking outside of myself. This little guy taught me unconditional love. Now I truly empathize with the women who say, yeah, my baby can't do any wrong. Totally get that now. Being a mom has definitely been a game changer for me. It is taking me out of selfishness and into selflessness. Learning how to really balance my soul and my ego. That's really been something that I have just now really learned to come to terms with. For the last 16 years of my life, and even more, probably 40 something years of my life, I was really making choices of how I could serve my ego rather than how can I serve my soul and how can my ego get in line with serving my soul. Throughout my career, I've always been very ambitious, very goal-oriented. I've always wanted to know, how can I achieve more? God showed me. I put all this effort into achieving more, starting another business. I realized that none of it ended up working out because I was not praying for the right things. I started praying only for myself. I started going selfish again. I started going ego again. I realized that when my prayers changed and I started praying for how can I build something that impacts humanity in the best ways? How can I create something that frees people, that liberates people from their own personal hells? What does that look like? And the moment that I changed my perspective, the moment that I started praying for things of the soul, that's when things really began to change.